Cushioned work boots. Why are they more comfortable and what are the benefits of wearing a cushioned work boots? Hi guys, it's Kent here and I'm the podiatrist at docpods and Ergonx, and today we're answering the questions about why are cushioned work boots more comfortable. So it makes sense that when you put something soft under your foot it's actually more comfortable, but it's a little bit more difficult to understand why. So of course with everything there's limits. So we want our work boots to be soft but not too soft, firm but not too firm. So when we're looking at a work boot, when we look at the cushioning areas, usually cushioning comes from two locations. It's either going to come from the midsole or the insole. The one that sits inside the shoe is obviously the insole. The midsole is this one here that sits between the outsole and the upper. So the first thing we look for in a cushioned work boot is, does it actually have a real cushioned insole? So some work boots will have this outsole, the hard section will just be a veneer to make it look like it's actually got a thick midsole. So it's important just to test that, give it a squeeze. If that is the same density as the midsole, then it's most likely a veneer and not an actual midsole. So we look for a cushioned midsole, and the other thing we look for is an insole to add even further cushioning and customize the shape of the boot inside. So you can see that this orthotic insole has this nice arch contour and this deep heel cup here. And what that does, that just helps to make the boot more cushioned on the inside and add a bit of a contour to the inside and support the arches of the feet, which makes your foot more comfortable. Now, the reason why adding cushioning to a work boot makes it more comfortable is it helps to absorb the forces that when we heel strike on the ground, the force that's applied to your heel, if we're using a very, very hard heel, you can imagine all of that force goes straight through your heel up into your ankle, knee, and hip. That means that your ankle, knee, and hip will have to work harder to absorb the force in the cartilage in the joints, and then that will wear and tear and become painful over time. So if we can cushion and take some of that force in the actual boot and the insole, what that means is less force is applied to your ankle, hips, and knees. So that does a couple of things. Of course, it decreases the overall force that's applied, but it also decreases the speed at which the force is applied. So if we apply the same force more slowly, it means that there's less actual force hitting your ankles, hips, and knees. So it'll make our foot pronate less and more slowly. So that's a really important point. If we reduce the speed that the force is applied at, your foot will react more slowly. So it will pronate more slowly and it will pronate to a lesser extent. So a cushioned midsole is a great help to make your feet more comfortable because it decreases the amount of force and decreases the rate at which the force is applied to your foot. So we can further increase the cushioning, like we've already discussed, with an orthotic insole that sits on the inside of the boot. So this insole is more aimed at cushioning the heel and forefoot areas. You can see it's got the cushioning position in the toe and the anti-static cushioning here in the forefoot. That helps to make your foot more comfortable when we're standing on it, but it also does the same thing as the midsole. If we strike the ground, it cushions in the heel, and then as we go further into toe off, the medial and lateral arch support keep your foot nice and straight so your foot can toe off. So this further enhances the boot, so your foot inside the boot won't be able to pronate too far, and it just helps to support the foot. So when we limit the amount of overpronation, it will actually take some of the stress and strain off the foot, so your foot won't need to work as hard to do the same amount of walking. So in a very roundabout way, cushioning your foot the right amount, not too much, not too little, will actually lead to less forces being applied to your foot, and your foot will work less across the workday. And we usually do this with a midsole, a nice, perfectly dense, not too hard, not too soft midsole, and an orthotic inner sole that cushions and supports your feet inside the boot, and that will make your feet more comfortable across the workday. So I hope this has helped to answer your questions that have come in about this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.